Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with MysticGenMara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And tonight, whenever you happen to be seeing this, I would like to offer your elemental energy reading for the element of air as a bonus reading for the month of April of 2026. These messages are general readings, so take what works, leave the rest for somebody else. How I like to do my bonus readings is I like to use the Celtic cross, but I've had a couple little tweaks to it because it makes more sense for how I read to use them with the little adjustments, and you'll notice those when we come to them. If you've never had your charts read, then there is a link in the description for a natal chart. It's not a sponsored link or anything fancy like that, but you can check it out. It's something that I've used personally, and I do like. It's just a general base chart with all the little signs and symbols, and then there's a 10 to 20 page description of what all that means. So that's pretty helpful when you're just getting started or you're just looking for some clarity as to why things happen the way they do. I've went back to mine I don't know how many times, even just in the last few years, just a little more clarity, a little more understanding about what's going on in life. So and then there's also some links to the cards that I'm using if you're interested, and the ones for the cards are affiliate links, so if you are interested in supporting the channel, you can do it through those. With that, we will get started here. And your significator for air is, and this is the kind of the totality of who you are in this moment, is the Queen of Swords. So this one is an interesting card because it says that you've achieved something. You've come to the end of a road, so to speak, and you've succeeded, but it's not what you expected. Because as you see, the egg has been hatched, but it's not a dragon in there. It's the butterflies. But you also are coming to the end of a cycle because you have the snows melting, so the snowdrops, which are a bulb that's coming up. So you've succeeded. Things are going the right way. It's just not what you expected. So I'm getting this energy from air that there may be a little bit of almost a disappointment because you expected things to go a very specific way, and that's not exactly how things worked. But you still succeeded, it's just not what you wanted. So you've got this balancing energy of, well, I achieved this part, but it's not the way I wanted, or I didn't follow this exact bullet points. Air, we get it, you like your lists and your organization, but in this situation, you still ended up where you were supposed to be. It may not be where your conscious mind was screaming at you to be, but your soul is like, no, this is good. So the energy that's crossing you is the Seven of Wands. You have felt in the past that you were under attack. You felt that you had to defend those that are with you over here. And this energy that's coming up as a crossing energy is you are not as attacked as you think you might be in the moment. That doesn't mean that you aren't having some outside antagonists going on here, but this is that call to examine. Are they really a threat, or are they just being loud, squawky, obnoxious humans? Because it could be something as simple as they're jealous of the fact that you've achieved, so they're nitpicking a little bit, and that is one of this visions with this. But what I'm hearing is, if you don't fuel the trolls, basically, then you don't have to deal with the trolls. And that's where this is coming in, because yeah, you may not have succeeded in the way you had planned, those nice lists that we love to write, but you have succeeded, and that's where this joy comes in with the butterflies, meaning you have had blessings. Your successes have actually built upon each other. It's just not exactly what you were hoping for in the moment. But don't worry, you're not done with your journey. So your higher self is the Queen of Wands. There is another egg in your future. And you have this energy that, yes, you've completed. You have went through this cycle. You've kind of went through a version of, they keep saying the word hell, so we'll go with that. You've went through hell to achieve this next level. And this higher self energy of the Queen of Wands, Queen of Fire, which is a friendly energy to air, is really wanting you to understand that things may not always turn out the way they want, but they do turn out the way they're supposed to be. And in this moment, you have succeeded in a new beginning. So one path didn't work out the way you anticipated, but don't forget you have another one, and there is something else being seeded. There is something else ready to be born. It's the matter of, are you ready for this? And that's what your question from the higher self is. Also, if I haven't said that, air covers the zodiac signs of Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. So, sometimes I skip that at the beginning. Sorry about that. But your shadow is actually reinforcing your higher self. And you'll understand it here in a second. Your shadow is the 0, which is the beginning of the major arcana, and that is the Fool. You are the naive. Your shadow is calling forth the naive idiot. This, I'm joyful. I've got a good new beginning. I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. And that's where you're starting off. And this energy from your shadow is saying, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to start something new. Air, we know. Air loves knowledge. Air loves wisdom. Air is the librarian of the 4 elements. But there are things that air doesn't know, and it's okay for that. And that's where this Fool energy comes in. It's okay to not know everything. It's okay to start over or to have a new beginning. Those things are fine. They're actually encouraged in most life. And so when you look at the center tree of your reading, get these lined up correctly here, you have the higher self saying, don't worry, things actually are doing better because you do have this new beginning. You even have a new friend coming along the way. They didn't turn out the way you thought, but you still succeeded and well beyond what you anticipated. And your shadow's like, and now it's time for the new beginning, so let's have fun with this. You might even encounter a new person along the way. That's where you get your little white tiger down here. In the traditional tarot, it's a puppy. But that's that new friend. That's that, oh, you have a companion for the journey ahead. This is great. Let's do things. And that's where you might have a little more of a struggle. It's not saying you're going to fail at it. It's just saying that you're not going, this is not the comfortable thing. Air, you have this urge, air as a rule does, where you want to know, you have to understand. And those are great. But it doesn't always mean that you're going to have that. So be okay with the new beginning and being open to the mystery of life and existence. And that can open some pretty interesting doors for you. Your immediate past, last 1 month, 6 months, or a year, is the 9 of Wands. Air, you've had to fight. You've had to go through things. You've had to basically light torches to make sure that your enemies couldn't get close, like burn away all the shadow type stuff. And that's where you've been in the past. Now, is that necessary to move forward with all that energy of, I can't trust anybody and everyone's out to get me? No, it's really not necessary. But it's also the fact that your history shows that you have the passion, you have the drive, you have the motivation, Air, to keep going forward. You don't let things get in your way. You don't let things stop you. Your history has shown you that you have the strength of character and the strength of will to overcome obstacles. And that's what's being brought forward here is you don't have to worry about that stuff because you've already done it. You've already been through this. You are battle hardened in one way or another. Now, does that mean you're not still soft inside? No, because where you stand today shows you still have some of those emotions. But it's because you know how to fight that you know what peace is. And that's a powerful lesson. Your immediate future, interesting, you have a lot of 9s going on here too, is the 9 of Swords, which is air energy, your energy. And the 9 of Swords is showing in the future there is the illusion of loss. There's this energy of you feel like you've lost something in the past. There's a part of you that's had to quote unquote die to achieve where you're at. What have you lost, Air? What is it in your past or a part of yourself that you feel that you have had to sacrifice on the altar of your achievement? Be honest with yourself. I'm not going to tell you the answer because this is general reading. There's no way I could read for everybody. But what it's saying is you're cutting away the illusion so you can see what's really happening. This is the illusion. You didn't really lose a part of yourself. You strengthened a part of yourself. It changed, it transformed, transmuted, it grew up. And sometimes that growing up period, you feel like you've lost some of your innocence. That's not pleasant. That's never easy. But you also are not failing. Your future is saying you're going to be able to overcome even more, but understand that it's going to feel like you may lose a part of yourself, but you're not. It's changing and it's growing, but you're not losing that part. That's just not how that works. So your inner world, your inner attitude, how you feel about life, is number 7, the Chariot. You don't see this card in this deck very often. It's kind of a fun card. The Chariot is saying inside, you're rocking and rolling. You've got things planning. You're trying to figure out what happened, how are we going to fix this? How are we going forward? Like, it's a cycle in there. The Chariot equals speed and strength. You're protected by the celestial energies. You can see that as angels. You can see it as spirit guides. You can see it as God's source. And you're being led and charged forward by the 2 dragons, light and dark. The balance of energy within you is what's going to accelerate things forward. And that's that part where you're searching for your balance. Air, I'm getting this image that you feel like you've been knocked out of balance, that you've been knocked off of your perfectly constructed pyramid, so to speak, and you're not. You're being shook a little bit because you're being stabilized. You're getting everything to settle in. And that's this energy of the Chariot. Is once you come into the understanding of balance again, you're going to take off like a rocket, because again, your past says that you're not just going to stand around and wait for anybody. You're going to do the thing. You're going to overcome. And your higher self is like, don't cry over spilled milk, dude. You've got new things coming in. You are ready for this new adventure. You have new friends coming in, and matter of fact, new friends coming in as on your shadow too. So you're in a really good spot here. It's just not. It may not feel like that in the moment, is what I keep seeing here. Your outside world, these are things that are outside of your control. You have the Page of Wands. So there's this outside energy that's, I almost feel like there's someone trying to pick at you, and they're like, and it's not an anger. They're trying to get you to wake up to the fact that you've already done all of this. You've already overcome. They're helping you light your passion again. And that's a beautiful friend or coworker or whatever it is, because they're not letting you get away with this Queen of Swords energy of, it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. This little dude's coming in going, but look where you ended up. Yeah, it may not have been that 12-point plan that you had set up, but you moved so far beyond that, it's not even funny. And that's what this guy's coming in to do. And this is outside of your control. You're going to try to push this person away. You're going to try to push this energy away like, you just don't understand. And they're like, no, we don't. Look at what you've done. So when that person's poking at you, trying to remind you of how far you've come, take the breath and be like, okay, what are you actually saying? Don't push them away just because you think that they don't know. They're watching. They're observing. There's a lot more intelligence there than they might normally give off. So your hopes and fears is the Lover's card. Interesting one for hopes and fears. There's this fear of separation that I'm getting. There is this fear of abandonment. And air, the lovers are joining. They're coming together. If you happen to be single, this is a strong indicator that you might be coming into an alignment with somebody. It could be a friend, deeper friendship. It could be an actual romantic relationship. Or it could be a new job, something that is coming into the passion of your life. The lover's energy is about hopes, and hopes is about growth, expansion. You have a little bit of Pisces energy going on here, so you might have a water friend coming in. But you're in this energy of connection. Your hope is that you make this connection and it grows. Your fear is separation or abandonment. And trust me, when you have this dude coming in as your outside influences, you don't really have the option to be abandoned because they're going to cling on to you like a monkey. So be aware that you're going to think you're abandoned, but you're really not, because you've got too much energy here coming in to support you. A lot of fire, but the fire is your passion. And that's where getting back into that passion state of, you know what? No, I have overcome this and I'm going to do it again. I don't care what's going on and I'm moving forward. That's where that's the intentions coming forward for you, air. Your overall outcome, well, this is a perfect card for this, is number 5, the Hierophant, or you can call it the High Priest. This is the divine masculine manifesting into the physical. You can also see this as a divine teacher. Your outcome from all of this chaos that's kind of building here is you're going to be able to show others the truth. You're going to become the better leader. You're going to step into a role that you didn't think was possible because you limited yourself with your 12-point plan. The universe took that plan, threw it out the window, and look where you're at now. The outcome from everything that's going on, this build-up of energy, is saying, yes, you may not have gotten what you had originally planned for, which is down here, but look where you ended up. This is where we have to come into that alignment of, when we build our plans, we set our intentions, we do our vision boards, this or something better. Because Source and our soul knows way more than our conscious mind with its cling to the ego comes in. That's, with this reading, what I'm seeing here is, Air, you're in a beautiful energy. It's not exactly what you anticipated, but over time, you're going to be beyond where you thought you could achieve. So this is a pretty strong message for Air right now. And I'm feeling like that's kind of the wrap up there, is you're going to move beyond where you thought you could be. You're going to achieve beyond what your 12-point plan was. You're going to actually succeed. And if you haven't already, then be aware that Source is on your side and things are going to happen for the best possible outcome for your soul's journey. May not be the ego's journey, that's a different story, but your soul is going to be where it needs to be, and it's going to inflame that inner passion. And there may be parts along the way where you feel like you've lost something, but you really didn't. It matured, it grew up. You put away childish things, so to speak, and that's the real gift of this reading, is you're going to be in a better place, and you may not even realize until it happens. So, if you see something different with the cards, feel free to comment down below your own intuitive guidance. As I read intuitively, it's always interesting to hear what other people have to say. Like, comment, and subscribe while you're down there. And then we're going to move into our oracle cards. And with the oracle cards, they could be clarification for the reading, or it could be an answer to a question. And if you have a question, you can hit pause here, ask your question, and we'll see if Source brings through the answer. So your first card is Enlightenment. Pursue spiritual growth. Air, no matter what challenge comes up, are you connecting with Source? Are you connecting with your guides and guardians? Are you reconnecting with elemental energy? Are you going outside barefoot? Maybe not right now, it's cold outside. But are you going outside barefoot? Are you taking your shoes off when you come home so you can at least ground a little bit better? Are you having some kind of fire, the passion of life, like a candle? Are you taking healthy baths or showers, things like that, where you're cleaning and cleansing? You're eating healthy food, preferably more organic because that's more tuned into earth, and breathing fresh air. Do you have plants in your house to help clean things up? When we are pursuing a spiritual path, it doesn't mean you're going to be going to an ashram or a temple or a monastery. It means, what are you doing in your day-to-day life to inspire spirit, to awaken your soul, tap into your passion? Because when you are before spiritual awakening, like the old saying goes, you're washing dishes and moving water. And after enlightenment, you're washing dishes and moving water. Because enlightenment is the spiritual connection. Doesn't mean that the everyday life is just gonna magically go away. It means you've moved beyond the concern of, oh no, I'm not connected. When you're connected, the rest of that stuff just happens. Yes, you still have to do the thing. You have to wax on and you have to wax off. That's just life. But you do so now with a stronger awareness of what's happening. You are cleaning the car, which is like spiritually purifying. You are cooking the food, which is feeding the soul. You're feeding your family. And that enlightenment shows you the spiritual vein that literally is in everything. So your second card is the owl with follow your intuition. That's a great way to follow this up. When you tap into your intuition, when you're working towards enlightenment, you see the next steps. You don't realize you're taking them. That's the beauty of this. And that's like your main reading here, is you've been following your inner guidance. Yes, things didn't turn out the way you wanted, but you went so much further because you followed your guidance. You followed Source. Yes, you had a plan. Source was like, cool, we'll take that, we'll start that as a foundation, but we're not keeping you there. We're moving you beyond that. When you follow your intuition, things happen in the weirdest way sometimes. You might bump into somebody accidentally, and all of a sudden you have this great conversation. New friend. You could be in a situation where you are working with somebody and they're just under your skin and something switches because of an accident, because of that person feeling like you may not like that person. They trust you. They like you for some reason. And they come to you and they spill their guts, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I wasn't annoyed with you. It was the situation that you're dealing with. And that person wanted to basically get your thoughts on it. Never doubt your intuition. Source knows what's going on. And that's the funny part after being in a spiritual existence of practice and study for over 20 years now for me. Everything happens for a reason. It's, are we aware of that reason when it happens? And sometimes you will never know. There's people that I've interacted with over the years that I'll find out 10 years later, and they're like, oh no, because of a conversation that we had or something, their entire existence shifted because they were in a dark place and they came out of it. I've had that happen to myself. There are people to this day that I have such a spiritual gratitude for. I don't see them very often. I haven't seen some of these people in over 8 years now. But does that mean that I don't care about them? No, because they helped shift that. I don't know if they know how much value that I feel from them. It was just simple things. And that's where this owl comes in. When you follow your intuition, these things happen, and a lot of times you may not be aware of it. But the consequences and the impact that you have in the world at that point is massive. Your final oracle card is Battle of the Blues. Take steps toward positive change. This is what Source is wanting you to look towards in the future. Don't worry about the simple things. Don't worry about, oh, well, I've got to do all these things. What can you do to make positive changes in your environment? Doesn't mean you have to go out and change the world. What are you doing today? Are you thanking that waiter? Are you smiling at that person who held the door open and saying thank you? Are you going to the animal shelter and helping walk dogs? Are you going to the homeless or the soup kitchen and offering soup? What are you doing in your day-to-day life to affect positive change? Donations are great, that's fine. But the actions speak louder. And when you start doing the positive changes in that respect, things change within as well, because you're doing something outwardly for a positive change, which inwardly changes you for a positive. So this month for air is really about understanding, yes, things don't always turn out the way you want them to, but they always end up where they're supposed to. Source is literally on your side, inflaming that passion that lives within you, getting you stoked about the next steps, because your spiritual journey is not over yet. Your spiritual connection is literally being called into a higher state. Follow your intuition. Do the things that impact people positively in your environment. Don't be a doormat, but definitely do things to support and be more of that sunlight in people's lives. And with that, I will let you guys and gals go, and I will see you in the next video.